to go back to having us live. Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Daily Space, coming to you live from Balticon right here on the internet. During any other year, we'd be in Baltimore, Maryland, but this year the entire con has gone virtual. And today isn't just special because we're coming to you from Balticon. It's also special because today, Virgin Orbit, which is launching its first CubeSat at any time now and between 4 hours, well, might be launching while we're live. So we have folks monitoring that. And as always, we have the news. But before we get to this news, this episode is going to be jam-packed with more than normal, even more than is normal even for us. As part of today's episode, we've been asked by the good humans at Balticon to let all of you in behind the scenes of our little show. Joining me in just a few minutes and hanging out in the window behind me right now are just a few of the members of our team. Joining me is Beth Johnson on the social media and Ali Pelfrey on the audio and video engineering. Other members of our team include Nancy Graziano, who does community management, and Annie Wilson, host of Rocket Wednesdays and keeper of the count of the space toilets. We are also helped by a myriad of volunteers. Our screen just isn't big enough to show everyone that it takes to put out this daily news show. Now, before we bring them all on, let's do what our audience on twitch.tv/CosmoQuestX is waiting for. Let's go to the news. Today we have just one science story, and it has one terribly large hole poked right through the center of it, a literal hole. Scientists are having fun explaining this hole in particular. This artist's rendition shows you what appears to be a messy ring of star formation with nothing in the center. The actual tiny blob of light, which was observed by Hubble and Keck, lacked the pixels to make this appear pretty. So yeah, let's go back to that artist's rendition that shows what is happening. This system is named R5519. This object is located 11 billion light years away, and we're seeing how it appeared just a few billion years after the Big Bang. As keeps coming up in a case of science on repeat, no one expected there to be a lot of fully formed major spiral galaxies already existing just a couple billion years after the Big Bang. But here we are, again, looking at something that can only be explained by rapid galaxy formation. The global team studying this object, which was led by Tian Yang, believes they've found the carnage of a galaxy collision where one system punched a hole through the disk of another system. These kinds of collisions are exceedingly rare, but have been seen before in the current universe, where galaxies are often found in groups and clusters, and where there are more fully formed galaxies than we believe existed in the early universe. Now, despite all the news of the past few weeks about fully formed galaxies being found 2 billion years after the Big Bang, we're still going to stick with there were fewer galaxies then, and galaxies were still actively forming. Now, despite the spread out nature of these galaxies back in the early universe and their fewer numbers, R5519 makes it clear that when a galaxy really wants to punch something, it will find a way. And some galaxy definitely found a way to punch all the way through R5519. This event left a dark, empty void in this Milky Way galaxy-sized system and triggered massive amounts of star formation. The ring that the team sees is undergoing 50 times the rate of star formation of our own galaxy. This work is published today in the journal Nature Astronomy. In this paper, they go on to argue that this discovery may imply that these kinds of collisions may have been more common in the early universe. As a personal commentary, I'd like to say I'm not sure we can say that yet. What this discovery tells us is there is a ring galaxy where they happen to be looking. And given all the remarkable things that have been reported on in the past few weeks, all of which were published after this paper was written, I think it's time to reset our expectations of what was happening in the first few billion years of the universe, because clearly no one was expecting this or any of the other remarkable stories of massive galaxies that have been coming out in the past 3 weeks. Now, from distant galaxies, we turn to local launches. Today, Virgin Galactic is going to attempt to launch a CubeSat on its Launcher 1 rocket from the belly of a modified 747. This Richard Branson-owned company is a sister to Virgin Galactic, and like its sibling, this company looks to avoid the holdups in access to space that can happen at spaceports like Kennedy, when multiple companies can't readily have their rockets sitting all lined up, all at once, ready to launch. Instead of waiting for the range to clear, this aircraft just needs a runway and open skies. The way this works is the 747 takes off, climbs to a high altitude, and then drops a 2-stage rocket that can carry up to 500 kilograms of cargo to low Earth orbit. Since they're launching from an airplane, they are open to all kinds of orbits ranging from 0 to 120 degrees, well, off the normal equatorial direction of the planet's rotation direction that things normally go in. This means their only real limitation is they do need some of the Earth's rotation to not be working against them as they try to get to orbital speeds. There is no live stream of this launch, but we are monitoring Twitter and we will let you know what happens when we know. Follow it all, well, here while we're live, and then afterwards over on CosmoQuest X on Twitter and pretty much anywhere else you may look. And finally, I'm going to say, I'm not going to say I'm bringing on our guests. Instead, I'm going to say I'm tearing back the curtain and introducing you to some, but not all, of the people who make everything we do possible. Pardon me while I rearrange these screens somewhat. And realize I didn't have all of our blurbs up. Here we go. And almost. And joining me now on the upper left is Ali Pelfrey, and on the upper right is Beth Johnson, and these are just some of the amazing people responsible for making this daily show happen. I'm gonna ask you guys to introduce yourself and look to see what questions may be coming in live from Baltimore, as well as live on twitch.tv/CosmoQuestX. So Ali, let's start with you.
Hey, hi, I'm Ali Pelfrey. I've been on the CosmoQuest team for a little over 2 weeks now, so I'm very new. I do audio and video engineering. I cut my teeth on this kind of thing doing production work for DragonCon. So I'm glad to be back in, doing like live stream and stuff.
Beth?
And
Beth, go ahead, Ali. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm done.
Okay. Beth?
I'm Beth Johnson. I'm responsible for web content and social media. I too have been with the team a little over 2 weeks, although I have been working with Pamela on and off for a long time, and now I finally get to actually officially be here, so I'm very excited. On that side, yeah. Okay, so cats, and they will join me in stream often.
Cats happen. Now, as you can suddenly tell, one of the production things that allows us to do what we do is I have a green screen behind me, and it doesn't actually fill the field of view of my camera. So apologies for the awkwardness of how I appear on camera, but hey, this is all about how this sausage is made. Now I'm seeing no questions coming in from Balticon. Hello, Balticon. We'd like to answer your questions. But I do see coming in on Twitch, AstroYYZ asks, any idea what the launch window is for the Virgin orbit attempt? And Ambius, thank you for all of the bits that came in. Thank you. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think the launch window is from now until 2 p.m. Pacific.
That's correct. Yeah, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific today. So the window opened about 12 minutes ago, and we've got 3 hours plus until last I saw they were still loading liquid oxygen. So we're still waiting.
Slowly, slowly goes the launch. So Larry Weird is asking, did that ring galaxy get punched with black hole knuckles? I'm now imagining the artwork that someone can do of that, of just like a galaxy driving out with its black hole. So the way things like this happen is you have 2 disks, and one is aligned so that as the other comes plowing through, I'm just going to use an earbud, as the one just comes plowing through at a high enough velocity and it connects directly in the center. It's a chance encounter. These things are fairly rare. I don't know what would have happened to the supermassive black holes in the system. The paper just came out, so more has yet to need to be absorbed. Thank you for this, Veronica Cure. Thank you. So it's getting pointed out in the chat, Allie, that you have green screen curtains.
I do. Could use that to my advantage.
You could.
I wonder if they would chroma key.
We can live dangerously, and I can tell Zoom to try chroma keying us. Unfortunately, I won't be able to. Actually, no, I can chroma key it in many different places. We can do this experiment.
Oh.
We can do the experiment.
Because they're not quite the like green screen green.
Oh dear.
You know?
Okay, that does not go well.
It does not.
Our different faces. Oh, I need to tell it we have a green screen. Hold on. There. Okay, yes. So all of our green screens are now turning into the surface of Jupiter. All right, that's a fun experiment to do. Now
Does this actually work? Because I can't see it on my video.
Yeah, it totally works. I'm about to get it so that hopefully the folks on Twitch can see it as well. I just need to figure out what layer to click on.
Well, that's fun. I think I'll try making my own green screen this week.
So these are the fun things that we sometimes do. Oh, it doesn't want to chroma key the screen capture.
Oh no.
Oh, there it goes. Whoa, that did not go well. All right, so maybe let's not. I'll show everyone how it did not go well. Basically, it's trying to chroma key all of your walls, Allie.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm just gonna not. All right, so we're back to using Zoom's chroma key feature going out to stream. All right, so let's see what other questions we have out there. So this is a 50-minute long panel. So we have plenty of time to fill, and we will start talking about production in just a moment. I'm just looking to see what other questions there might be in the chat. So I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. So this panel is going out on the Balticon science side, and it is only 1 p.m., which in con time is early in the morning. So it's true stories. So I don't know just how big our audience is out there. So all questions are welcome and encouraged. So Jillian asks, is that middle space actually empty? I think I need more words on that. What middle space are you referring to?
She's talking about the ring galaxy?
Oh, so in the ring galaxy, the middle space, thank you, Lalarcy, for the follow. So the middle space is simply not as illuminated as everything else. It's probably not completely empty. Again, I don't know if there's a supermassive black hole in there, but it has been stripped of the bulk of its gas and dust and other luminous material. Not all of it. Some stuff is going to linger. But yes, most of the stuff has been emptied out. It's kind of like punching a hole through a cloud of smoke. You end up with a dark tunnel through the center, but not all of it. So let's see, what else is there? So let's go over how we produce this show, which was one of the other things that Balticon had asked. And I have to say, we kind of live by Trello. Beth, you're the one who picks up earliest in the morning. You want to talk about how our process starts?
So I spend the first 2 minutes of my day copying and pasting press release information into Trello for Pamela to look through so she can decide what stories we're going to do. And from there, she starts working on the scripts, deciding on the stories, picking the images, and then I build up the cover image that goes out on Twitter and then eventually gets posted to our blog. And I edit the script behind her most days so that I can use it to post to all of our social media and post all of the corrected stuff with a lot fewer acronyms to the blog so that everybody understands it. Because sometimes she puts in acronyms where even I have to go, wait, what was that one? Oh, okay. But she reads them out loud correctly.
And this has a lot to do with just how last minute things are. And it's not last minute because we procrastinate. It's because the news is breaking news when we bring it to you. And there's a lot of mornings where I see these two popping in and watching me write the script, and I feel like it's a spectator sport. Were you two surprised at just how quickly we're literally finishing things 2 minutes before we go live?
I knew about that in advance, so that did not surprise me, but I'm still impressed with how quickly you write, because that's amazing.
Because I would never be able to pull off a script that fast, even with my experience doing live shows with DragonCon.
We've been doing this, I think we're in our 3rd year, so practice. Okay, so we have a question on the main chat from Balticon. Baden Gakfrans, or Gay, I don't know, I'm just gonna go with that pronunciation, asks, what does a ring galaxy look like from other perspectives? Does the object punching through distort other dimensions of the galaxy? Yes, it would. There should be tidal streams coming out the back side of this. So it's very much like punching a hole through a cloud of smoke, where you end up with the wispies going out the other side. Smoke, galaxies, we can treat how things move inside both of them using fluid dynamics, believe it or not. And so that's how we figure it out. So Jillian Georgine says, could you explain what an embargoed story is? I can guess from context, but would be interested to know how it works and why some stories are embargoed. Ali, I'm going to throw that one to you.
Okay, it's just basically say at least this from an embargo will basically be like, you can't report on it until X day, and it kind of it gives the agency releasing it just kind of a head start on coverage, and it also is a way of kind of being able to get a handle on how and when the news is released. So it's kind of I don't know. I'm thinking about when I used to work on the PR side. It basically will give the PR team enough time to get their stuff together. So once it hits the news, they'll be able to answer questions in a very thoughtful way.
And the advantage to it in a lot of cases is if you're a big organization with sufficient humans on staff, when you get the embargoed press release several days before the actual story is released, you can call people up, you can do interviews ahead of time, and you can have your story ready to go live the moment the embargo is released. So often stories will get embargoed because they're big stories that they know are going to be kind of difficult to cover, and they want to give you added time as a journalist to get your stuff together as well.
It's on the reporting side, it's definitely a lot nicer to work with embargoed stories than stories that are just like, surprise.
Yes, yes, this is entirely true. Looking to see what else we have. So Henny asks on Twitch, are there any pictures of ring galaxies from the side? I don't know. And part of not knowing is we wouldn't know if it was a ring galaxy if it was from the side. And if you think about it, my phone, because it's an Apple phone, has an Apple logo, but you can't know that if you're looking at it edge on. So at exactly what angle do you stop being able to see these holes punched through just because they're obscured by other things in the galaxy? We could know a whole lot of ring galaxies without knowing they're ring galaxies just because we can't see that hole. So Larry asks, do embargoes let someone report it first? Have you worked with exclusive content, either of you?
Not for anything to do with like a convention or like what, I mean, when I used to work for a PR firm, sometimes we would give out exclusive, but like exclusive, I don't know. An embargo is basically just gonna, you know, be applicable to whoever gets the press. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think how to answer that, because no, in that case, it just really depends on who has their story ready when the embargo lifts.
Yes.
Because if a news agency or outlet or whatever wants like a specific, like, I don't know, like newspaper or website to report on something, they will give that story to them exclusively. So it will never be on anyone else's radar for an embargo to happen. So it's,
and
at least that's been my experience.
Yeah, and what we see in astronomy quite often is there will be major events where they will actually embed journalists with the event. So you'll see journalists embedded for the launch of missions where they're given exclusive access to what is happening in the moment. That's not so much embargoed content as just they're the only ones there, so they get to report on what they see. And Hanny likes your Mass Effect hat.
Thank you.
So DPI says, many galaxies are older than the Milky Way, the oldies being almost as old as the known universe, but age is just a number. It's true. And what we're finding in the news right now is massive galaxies seem to be forming constantly over the history of the universe. It's just how they form seems to change sometimes, where some of the earliest massive galaxies formed through the massive collapse of large clouds of material. So you went from large cloud inside of a dark matter halo, collapsed down to massive galaxy. Or later on in the universe, we have myriad tiny galaxies coming together, merging and building bigger and bigger and bigger galaxies. So Hanny asks, what makes a good story? What is your most memorable story? So Beth, what are some of the things that you look for when you're filtering the stories that you send on to me?
I'm looking for science news, not just, hi, this person is getting this award, because that's interesting for a lot of people, but it's not necessarily relevant for a daily news show.
Right.
I want breakthrough science. I want science that's fresh, not just, hi, we're launching in a month and we're going to send you an update every week to tell you where we're at with it. So,
Perseverance rover.
I was trying not to mention it, but yeah,
it's all right.
I get a weekly or several times a week press release from Perseverance saying what they've been up to, getting ready for their launch, and those I will give them to Pamela, but I put them at the bottom of the list in a if there's nothing else to talk about kind of way, because I also know Pamela doesn't like to talk about missions until they're launched.
Yeah.
So
they blow up too often to learn too much. You don't fall in love with a spacecraft that hasn't launched. But so and Veronica Cure makes the great comment. It is in the name, Perseverance. Okay, yes, but Perseverance, you're coming off as a needy little rover right now. Enough with the press releases. So what's the most interesting story you've seen come out so far?
In these 2 weeks, or just
in general, because you've been doing this in the field for a long time.
In the field, Tabbies Star.
Okay, and describe Tabbies Star.
Tabbies Star is a star found in Kepler data that had very unusual light curve changes, and when it hit the press, and this is sort of that, it's a dual-edged sword in that it's really, really fascinating, and the public takes to it really well, and sometimes they do things like, oh, aliens, and then that becomes a big thing. But the science that came out of it, and the fact that so many different organizations took a look at it and dug into it, and dug into like Harvard pictures and all kinds of things to figure out what was going on with the star, was amazing. A big community project.
And with Tabbies Star, what also was so cool about it is they found something that they couldn't explain that was super awesome, and they crowdfunded the funding necessary to get telescope time to understand it. So it really engaged humans in so many different ways. But
yeah, I really liked it, and it's kind of almost the gift that keeps on giving too.
It's true. All right, so Tracy Logan is asking, I found you as a random Balticon science panel. I figured out you are a science show. Where do you broadcast? Who is your sponsor? Hi, Tracy. You could be our sponsor. The Daily Space is made possible thanks to the generous contributions of numerous individuals who could be you. We are supported through bits and subs on twitch.tv/CosmoQuestX, as well as through an active community of patrons on patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. We have had various sponsors through the years, including Clean Coders and OPT, Oceanside Photo and Telescope, has donated equipment, and if basically we figure out how to keep going month by month, and so far we've been able to. We are a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We go out most Mondays through Fridays on twitch.tv as well as on YouTube. This is our content. Now, the thing that we haven't gotten to yet talking about is our podcast. The live show that you all see that you just witnessed is generally the dress rehearsal for the recording of the podcast. It's where I realize, oh shoot, I forgot this sentence here in the script, where I realize, oh, I didn't explain this enough from the Q&A that happens. We fix the script and then record and go out as a podcast wherever you may find podcasts. So thank you. Yeah, we go out live on twitch.tv/CosmoQuestX. Everything is archived 24 hours later over on YouTube. Just look for CosmoQuestX. So Pat French asks, could you please spell out Tabby Star in the chat? You actually got it just right. It is Tabby as in the cat, Tabbies Star. It actually stands for Tabitha. Her last name is something that I don't know any science communicator brave enough to try and pronounce while live streaming, having not just looked up how to pronounce it. This is a PhD astronomer who discovered this star as part of a team doing her graduate work, I believe. Can you correct me on that, Beth?
No, that sounds right.
Okay. Boyajian. Is that how you say it, Carrie? So Carrie Elise in the chat on Zoom for Balticon has the pronunciation. I'm going to drop it into the Twitch chat. Boyajian Star is the more PC thing to say. Yes, this is true.
It's very true, but yeah, I have trouble pronouncing it, and I don't like tripping over people's names, and I feel like that's almost more insulting. So.
And considering Tabitha was part of it when it was called Tabbies Star, and was part of a lot of the push in the crowdfunding using that name, it's one of these things that is it's a mix on what to name it. Long term, it should be adopted by her last name. Short term, it was beloved along with her because of the amazing science coming out of it. Yeah, she's pretty cool with Tabbies Star designation, Carrie points out. She is a PhD researcher. I believe that she used to be at Penn State. I'm not sure where she's landed since then. Okay, so she landed at Louisiana State University. Cool. Thank you so much, Carrie Elise. All right, so I hope I got your question, Tracy, and Pat, I got yours. Happy to answer any other questions y'all might have. Carrie Elise, sorry about that. I'm just gonna mispronounce names. Unfortunately, that is a common thing I do. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm bad at pronunciations. So we do a podcast, and this is where Allie comes in and flings files like an awesome human. So what all do you do in putting together our podcast every day, Allie?
Well, first of all, Pamela is kind enough to put everything in Dropbox for me, so it's very easy for me to retrieve the files. So I just basically take the audio in Audition and clean it up, make it sound nice, and then upload it to be sent out as a podcast. And then I, do a quick edit of the video from Twitch to put up on YouTube. So, which it all sounds like really simple when I say it out loud like that, but it can take a few hours to turn around.
The days we do interviews are killer,
especially interviews, because I've got to like extract the audio from Twitch and then like and sync that up with the podcast audio and whatnot. So it's like there's not a lot of steps involved, but the steps themselves are
tedious.
Are very I don't want to use the word tedious because I actually enjoy doing it.
Thank you for the bits, the way it goes. Thank you. So there was a question that I didn't actually lose in the process, asking about Oumuamua and Borosov. These are two interstellar objects that flew through our solar system this year. We actually had one of the researchers, Jan Lee was a guest on our show last Tuesday, Blursday, last Blursday. And he was one of the folks that measured the composition of the comet. So basically what these two objects are is Oumuamua was a cigar-shaped asteroid from another solar system that came through our solar system just as a coincidence. 2 points in space traveling on intersecting lines allowed us to catch a sight of it. We believe that the way that this asteroid ended up with its super crazy long needle-like shape is as it passed too close to its star. It got tidally disrupted, but those pieces were able to gravitationally come back together after getting stretched out into this long shape. And they essentially cold welded themselves into the new form as the asteroid was getting ejected from its home solar system. Comet Borosov was spotted by an amateur astronomer, showing that anyone can make a remarkable discovery. It passed through our solar system's center, or as close to the sun as it was going to get, a few months ago. It's now a 20th magnitude object that we're not able to see except with the biggest telescopes in the world, because it's broken apart into multiple pieces with its encounter with the sun. Our sun has been eating a lot of comets lately. It's what it does. While we can't tell you anything particularly exciting about Oumuamua, other than it exists and it's weird shaped, but we now understand that. With Comet Borosov, we can tell you that its ratio of different constituent molecules, how much water to how much carbon monoxide it has, carbon dioxide it has, is not what we anticipated. It appears that it formed in a significantly colder place than where the comets in our solar system formed. So it may have either come from a much further out part of a solar system or from a solar system with a much colder star. So that's what we know right now. Baden Gakfrand says, many science reporters oversimplify stories and misrepresent studies they haven't read in full. How do you avoid this and sort through stories to find out what is true? So we can't be an arbiter of what's true and what's not. I am a PhD astronomer. I do leverage that to do a first pass on what's true and what's not. Beyond that, we rely on the peer review system. There are a lot of science journalists out there who will troll through preprints looking for science that has not yet been picked up by anyone else and discuss it. We don't do that. Stories that we cover are either announcements from companies about, hey, we're going to launch this rocket. What's the status on Virgin Orbit rather?
Nothing new.
Okay. Or we're covering science that has just been published, just come out, where we aren't sure of things. We actually invite the scientists to come on and we interview them in depth. I've accidentally made a few people feel like they were taking their doctoral dissertation oral exams the second time. I also remember a talk I heard once where someone said that they were taking a I believe it was a theological exam, and there's a space only yay big in which they were asked to describe their relationship with God. And they were grateful the space was only this big because it helped them avoid blasphemy. While God is not a topic of our show, by doing really quick dives into the news, discussing the scientifically relevant high are less likely to make our own mistakes by diving into things that aren't well understood yet. We do our best. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we do, is we do our best to read the papers as rapidly as we can, read the press releases in detail, and try. That's what we do. I hope that that was a satisfying answer. Yeah, I am a senior scientist at the Planetary Science Institute and have a PhD in astronomy from the University of Texas, and I'm still an active researcher. So Carrie is saying that there's a 4:1 to a 10:1 width to length ratio for Oumuamua, and is commenting that it could have been stretched by passing a star or by a growing Jupiter. A star helps explain its devolatized nature. So devolatized is just a fancy way of saying it doesn't have things like oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane gases locked up as ices within its structure that would have been given off as it passed near our sun. I haven't seen any studies that were able to explain it with a growing Jupiter. There was a very compelling study that came out explaining how it would have passed near a star to get sufficiently tidally disrupted to explain its shape. I'm open to seeing other papers. There's so many that come out that I do miss things. Okay, so let's see what questions we have over on Twitch. We have about 10 more minutes. No new question. Wait, let me scroll. My window has gotten quite tiny. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I have too many things open at once.
Oh no,
on my
she's
computer.
going to touch things.
Yeah, I'm touching things on a different screen than the one that I'm streaming from. So we seem to be okay. Thank you, Veronica Cure, for the gift sub. So much activity. So Jillian asks, did you guys used to have guests on Daily Space before quarantine times, or is that something you've recently started? So we rarely had guests on before quarantine times just because it was harder to orchestrate. Now that everyone's trapped at home, scientists aren't flying around as much. One of the things that we really run into with astronomy and planetary science is there aren't that many of us. And because many people believe you need to be face-to-face to successfully collaborate, we spend vast amounts of time on airplanes. There are as many astronomers on the planet as there are folks working for Adobe in the Boston area. And that's not a lot of humans in the grand scheme of humans. So it's really hard to schedule people to give talks when they're teaching classes face-to-face, when they're traveling to conferences, when they're traveling to collaboration meetings. And so we're taking advantage of plague times to be able to do more interviews. And we're really enjoying it for the most part. It does kill Allie slowly. We're sorry, Allie.
I'll survive.
Okay. So Veronica asks, can you talk about future citizen science project that CosmoQuest plans to work on? So CosmoQuest is more than just media. You're seeing one of our two separate podcasts. We do both the Daily Space, which is our daily news show, as well as the 365 Days of Astronomy community podcast, which aggregates content from a myriad of voices all around the world and has been going since 2009. It's a Parsec award-winning show. Now, CosmoQuest also does citizen science. It was our team of volunteers that mapped out the surface of Bennu, working alongside NASA scientists and academic scientists around the world to figure out where is OSIRIS-REx on October 20th going to dive down and collect its sample. Well, it turns out the result is Nightingale Crater, and we have a bunch of humans on our team that helped find that crater. In the future, we're going to be working with Mars researchers to try and figure out recent sites on Mars where water flowed. We're also going to be working with folks studying Titan to look for auroras in the atmosphere, as well as a myriad of other projects. We are currently unfunded by NASA to work on CosmoQuest, so everything goes slower than it used to. We're not entirely sure. They don't ever tell you exactly why you lost your funding, but we were warned in August of 2018 that cost overruns on the James Webb Space Telescope might mean the zeroing of our funding. And whatever the reason was, in October, a couple of months later, our funding was zeroed at 9:30 on a Thursday night that I remember quite distinctly. So now we're continuing to do science, but we're doing it open source with volunteer programmers. And there's so many scientists out there who desperately need our help, and NASA's not paying for it. So we're doing what we can on a volunteer basis. So if you want to help coding, we could use the help. If you want to help sciencing, stay tuned. The science is coming. All right, so we have 2 minutes left. No, Fenmil. So we had a question, did Galileo give enough data to identify fault types on Io? No, looking for other questions to rapidly answer. Hanny, if someone wanted to do what you do, what kind of organizational structure should they set up? A large one that is well-funded. Don't be us, be better funded. Raj asks, from someone who is from the UK, what is shown at Balticon? It's a science fiction, science fantasy convention. Check it out at balticon.org. Okay, so Beth, where can they find out more about everything we do?
They can look for us at CosmoQuest X pretty much everywhere. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're pretty much anywhere you can want us to be.
And any parting words from either of you?
I'm good.
All right, so
mornings are hard and Mondays are harder.
So we invite all of you to join us. You can learn more about everything we do at cosmoquest.org. This has been CosmoQuest for today, Memorial Day, coming to you live from Balticon. My name is Dr. Pamela Gay. I have been your host for this episode, along with our audio and video engineer, Ali Pelfrey, and our web content producer, Beth Johnson. We are a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are here thanks to a myriad of volunteers supporting us and the generous contributions of people like you. Your bits, your subs, your patronage at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX allows us to pay these fine humans a fair wage. Not shown today is Annie Wilson, our host of our weekly Rocket Wednesdays, and Nancy Graziano, who is our social media, not our social media, our community coordinator. So that's it. That's all we've got. So wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, afternoon. Wash your hands a lot. Wear a mask if you go outside. And we're going to get through all of this together. If you need a place to hang out, join us over on the CosmoQuest Discord, where we have science shenanigans and more games of Ticket to Ride and Animal Crossing than I would ever have expected. I hope to see all of you online. For now, see you all on the other side. Bye-bye.